Welcome to the Legal Connection with Toni Lynn Collins and Cheryl Ellsworth Jahani. We are here every Tuesday on irlonestar.com, 104.5 or 106.1 Conroe's FM, giving you legal, we are two licensed Texas attorneys, and we are here for you, our listening audience, to help you through the legal situations that you find yourself in. And we have a guest today. His name is Samuel David Jahani, and he is my oldest son. But he's also the busiest trainer at the 105 Gold's Gym. And today we're going to be talking about weight loss, exercise, personal training, and the legal ramifications of signing up with a gym and what's expected when people sign up with a gym. They want to lose weight. You know, summer's coming up, swimsuit time. And Toni and I felt like this would be a relevant topic. How are you doing today, Samuel?
Doing good. Hi, Mom.
Hey, son. Well, it's good to see you here. And I'm glad that I can introduce you for who you are, a personal trainer. And you're busy, right? You had a busy morning this morning, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I keep pretty busy.
Well, I bet this time of year is pretty busy for you.
It depends. I mean, every year, every time of year is a little bit different. But right about now, yeah, we're doing okay.
Yeah, people start thinking about trying to lose weight, looking good in a swimsuit, or just outdoor activities and
absolutely,
and being more physically active. And I think that people start thinking about dieting and as a consequence of that, exercise, because, you know, we all know that diet and exercise go together. The problem that we have with diet and exercise is that, you know, a lot of times we need help and encouragement, Samuel, and with the pitfalls, because there are some, quite a few, actually. There are a lot of cases out there where people have been very disappointed. They've been injured in a gym, or they just feel like that with their contract, they didn't get the benefit of the bargain that they were hoping to get in signing up for a gym. So, you know, people come in and they know that diet and exercise go together. And I want to exercise, and it's harder for me to lose weight. I've gained all this weight. So I come in to the gym, and what do? They try to get me to sign a contract, don't they? What's the pitch, the hard pitch?
Well, I mean, it really just depends. I mean, if you're already a member and they've already sold you on a membership, then a lot of gyms will, they'll try to get you to buy into their program, whatever it is, for group training or for one-on-one training, and kind of promote that and try to get you to spend money on their product.
Right. And so they have group training sessions too?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. Well, you know, Toni is here with us today. How are you doing, Toni?
Fine.
My co-host, Miss TLC, Toni Lynn Collins. Toni, I was just about to tell our listeners that, you know, it's a misconception that a lot of us have. You and I talked about this, is that when you sign a contract in Texas, you can get out of it after 3 days. And that's not true, is it?
Well, it's not. And, you know, in my own personal experience, as an attorney that also sort of got, I guess, sucked into personal training at a time when I had no business doing that. And I think we probably can all agree. I'll say as far as, you know, your expert witness here,
Samuel Jahani,
and you and even our station manager Dick, that when you go into one of these gyms, to me it's like going into I guess the first time I went into a Catholic church, I was like, I don't belong here. Everybody knows I don't belong here.
Yeah, it can be very intimidating, and they take advantage of that fact. I mean, it is a business.
And they're pumping iron over there, and everybody's running. I mean, I can barely get to my car without having to I thought, I don't really belong here. And so you're caught up in, or at least I was, with, we can get you to that level, and look what we can do. Let's take your body fat and all this, you know, all this other stuff. And I went into this, and I did personal training twice. And it, you know, it's good. My trainer was amazing. I love my trainer, but I wasn't in a condition to really be doing the type of training that he was giving me. And what I should have done was I should have, I guess what you were talking about a little bit earlier was I was under the impression that I could have canceled this contract after 3 days, because I had learned in law school that there's a, you know, Deceptive Trade Act provision that says you can get out of this kind of thing. I just thought that well, I made a mistake. I'll go back and undo it. But I also knew as a landman that you can't do that with an earnest money contract. And as an oil and gas, doing the oil and gas negotiations, you sign a contract, it's a contract.
Right.
And short of some defense, like you were drunk or there was undue influence, it's going to be really difficult to get out of that contract unless you can say there was no consideration or whatever. And the gym people are really good. I mean, they are sales people. They are trained.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so what we had discussed earlier and what we know by the law is that you can't get out of it for 3 days. There's only certain limited cases that being able to get out of the contract within the 3-day period after you've signed it would apply. And and I think you had an attorney general opinion on that.
Right. It only applies in situations where you're solicited door to door or the sale does not take place at the seller's place of business. So that wouldn't apply to a gym because all of those contracts are signed.
Well, unless they come
site.
to your house.
Exactly, but which is not the way they market it.
Right.
So all of those contracts are signed on site. So notice to our listeners, if you want to be able to get out of this contract in 3 days, write a clause or have them write a clause in that contract that says this contract may be terminated within 3 days of the date signed.
Expressly put in there at the bottom what you believe would be fair, because it could be, and we've got some case law we'll go over today, that this person is not in a condition to be working out, like a 74-year-old or somebody that's got heart problems.
Right.
They need to put in there a provision, and an attorney doesn't necessarily have to do it, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to make sure that it's initialed by both parties, that within 2 weeks, like an option period.
Right.
Within 2 weeks, I'll get my full refund, or this is null and void, under, with these certain conditions. And the easiest one would be after 10 days, if I decide I want to do this, I'm going to try it out. Then if I, without having a doctor's note or anything, if there is a reason that I don't want to do this, my elective voluntary reason, and of course the gyms may not do that. They may say this is our contract.
Right.
And
they usually do.
But there's also a lot of other trainers out there too. So, and I'm sure that another trainer, and this is what we can get into with your expert, is if other trainers can use the gym time for if they don't actually train there. And I don't know that.
It depends on the gym. Some gyms are open gyms and they just charge you a straight fee to go train clients there. And they'll charge you a fee for that. Gold's Gym is a corporate gym, so they don't do that.
Okay. So,
well, and I know the rec center here in Conroe, they have a personal trainer and you can't bring your personal trainer in. The only reason I could have was because my son is a personal trainer. And they said one time, because they're promoting their own personal trainer.
Well, when I used to teach ice skating, we could, for a fee, we could use the ice. Right. So it seemed to me that you could be like, if you were a trainer, you could work a deal out with the gym.
Some gyms do that, yeah. It depends.
But Gold's Gym doesn't?
No, they have their own trainers, their own program.
Do you know a gym that does that?
I believe Spring Fitness does.
Okay, so Spring Fitness will allow you to bring in your personal trainer. Like if I want.
Well, they have to be on with Spring Fitness. I don't know 100%. So
which makes perfect sense because when I was skating at Galleria, when I was skating at Sharpstown Ice Center, I had to know the people there, and I had to work out a contract to be able to use their ice time and pay them a portion of whatever I was getting for the private lessons.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was it expensive?
Ice skating private lessons are actually very expensive. And, I'm like all about pro bono and doing everything I can to help people.
I know.
And that's why I stopped actually teaching for a fee, and I would just go out there and help kids, because the business side of it was really just tainting and spoiling my love for the sport. And I just prefer not even to have to do that. I want to go out there and skate. I would have fun just helping little kids. Right. And I think if I needed the money, though, I probably, if it was what I was doing as a business or, to pay the bills, that would be a different story. But I stopped doing it altogether, trying to work out the logistics of training, because kids only have an attention span, at least the ones that I dealt with, that's about 5 minutes long, if that. Mm-hmm. And they get frustrated if they can't do it and they don't want to finish the lesson. And they usually are like me and my piano. They don't practice.
Right. No, we can all relate to that.
Okay. So but just for the 3-day clause, what does that cover? What did the Attorney General say about that? Even though it may not be on point to fitness.
Right. No, it said that it covers businesses that the sale does not take place at the seller's place of business. So, for example, door-to-door salesman.
But I thought that also covered the lemon law for cars. No?
The lemon law for cars, there is a 3-day. I think it may be longer than 3 days, but a 3-day for sure. As far as the lemon law,
lemon law is whenever you find out that the car is
a lemon,
and there's certain. Because I've done the lemon law case before. It's been years,
right?
But you got a lemon, and there's a lot of protective statutes and laws that if you fit the criteria, then the car goes back,
right?
But the bottom line here is if you enter a contract. Make sure, and they may not allow it, and they're really good salespeople too. But if you can put in there the express provision that you have an option period, or make sure you go over it with the trainer or the facility to find out what ways you can get out of it. And that's really bad because I did a full year of training and I was in really good shape because this trainer, he killed me. He was just like, "Come on, you can do it," which is what a trainer does. The really good ones are going to push
absolutely.
you. But I got to the point where I was afraid to go because I knew that I was going to be exhausted.
Right.
And I wasn't that vain that I cared at the age that I was doing it. I was over 50.
Well, my husband and I just joined Orange Theory. Samuel and I were talking about that a couple of months ago. And the interesting thing about Orange Theory is talk about wear you out, but it's a 2-month cancellation policy.
But now what does that mean?
That you have, if you sign something, you're signed up for 2 months. The first 2 months you can't cancel without having to fulfill the terms of your contract. And our contract is $89 a month. And that, you get 8 classes. But it's 2 months. And that's what I liked about that.
Is Orange Theory a group class?
It's a group class. It's got, we go to the one on 105 right here in Conroe. And I think there are 26 machines that can be used at one time, which means only 26 people in a class. And we were in a class the other day that was full.
Well, is Orange Theory its own gym? I don't
yes.
want to promote, but I don't
Do
even know
you know anything about Orange Theory, Samuel?
Yeah,
Tell us.
It's a trainer. It's what they do is it's a classes gym. So you can't go and just work out by yourself. You have to go when the trainer is teaching a class.
Okay.
And then you do HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training.
Ugh.
So you do 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. But that's scientifically proven, especially with the right exercise, to get the metabolism higher than other forms of exercise.
Wouldn't it just be better to vacuum your house really fast
and
stop and
it wouldn't.
I do. Clean my house. Window washing, there's got to be something that you can do.
Oh, Richard
If you do it outside, you can get a tan. Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking that whenever I trained, I'm not being productive unless I'm reading a book or going over a case and then I was always moving up and down and up and down. And I couldn't see the case law, so I went crazy. And then when I was at the gym that I went to, they never had the channel on the millions of TVs that I liked. So then what I did on my 50th birthday, my beloved husband, hi Jim, I know you're listening at the hospital. Jim. And he never tells me no. That's what I love about my beloved. He got me the top of the line elliptical. And that was 8 years ago for my birthday.
Right.
And I can honestly tell you that I was, with the girl, what's that girl's name that's gay and she's real buff and I forgot what her name was. She's
the tennis player?
She's got kind of a big nose, but she's got a pretty face. She does all the commercials right now.
Ellen DeGeneres.
No, she's not. Oh, she's gay, but no, she doesn't work out. No, come on, trainer. Who am I talking about? No, she's buff and she does the bicycle commercial.
Oh, come on, Toni, go on. So what happened to this?
I'll remember it, Jim. Send me your telepathy. We know who we're talking about. She's got a pretty face, but it's kind of like she's on steroids or something. She is. She's like she had their own little thing on the like doing the Great Wall of China on the elliptical, and you could also do the other app where you're jogging down the French Riviera, whatever it is, and you're supposed to feel the same way. And I didn't even do that. I never did one. I think I've been on it 10 minutes total.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to go to break. Well, that's why we're talking about this today. Losing weight, getting in shape. Sometimes it's great, but
summertime. We got
voicemail us 281-529-5862 and catch us on Facebook.com/Legal Connection Show. We'll be right back after the break.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That's Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on the computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. A Lone Star Community Radio. broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
Does volunteering at a nonprofit horse sanctuary sound wonderful? Or are you a veteran or a veteran spouse and think trying a peer group session through a local Horses and Heroes equine program might be worth trying? Henry's Home Horse and Human Sanctuary, located in Grand Central Park by appointment only, is home to a growing number of rescued and donated horses. Visit our website at henryshomehorsesanctuary.org or check out our Facebook at Henry's Home Horse and Human Sanctuary for more information.
Welcome back to the Legal Connection Show. Toni Lynn Collins and Cheryl Ellsworth Jahani, and we are here with a special guest, Samuel Jahani. He's a personal trainer, and he's helping us on this topic of gyms, trying to lose weight, going to the gym, and the litany of legal issues that can happen as a result of that. You can email us your questions at questions@legalconnectionshow.com. We know that this is a real issue. I mean, my goodness, there's so much case law out there on this very thing about people going to gyms, getting injured in gyms.
Well, the case law, a lot of what I found was it was like in your situation, our expert trainer, where the trainers weren't being paid their overtime because they weren't in the right class. And in this particular case that we'll go over today was Gold's Gym being sued by a group of trainers because Gold's Gym, they must be like counting the pennies or something because they weren't being fair with their trainers. And I'm telling you what, my trainer, and it's really bad that I can't remember his name. He looked like a Greek god. I mean, this guy, he looked like he should have been a movie star. And then, and now he's in Colorado. I guess maybe that's part of I don't know. Did you ever have a desire to go to Colorado after, training? I don't know. His whole group is like really into the nature and, and I think he dresses like Jesus now.
Are you sure that's why he's in Colorado?
Yeah.
Well, no, I actually, that's probably not the only reason he's there. But, and then he got all these tattoos and he was just so handsome. I don't understand, but he was the best trainer ever. But to go back to what we were talking about before, we do know now it was Jillian Michaels. Thank you very much. I could not remember her name to save my life, but she, all the, and what's the other one? It's the,
Lord, here we go
the bicycle, the one where the really hot girls with 5, they're Catholic. They have 1 million kids at the breakfast table and they're biking.
Peloton.
Right. Man, are they like spending the money on advertising? I even have one of those. And I'm still.
Can I borrow it? Yeah.
No, I don't have a Peloton, but I always think that looks so glamorous to have the glass, that you're doing that. And there's no way.
Yeah. And the kids come downstairs for breakfast with their teddy bears, and mommy's already been on the bicycle. And dad's
reading the paper.
Right.
Like that's
but
really
mom looks great. Right.
But that's why we have trainer.
Right. And we were going to, do you want to talk about the Casanova v. Gold's Tex Holding case about the personal trainers?
Yes.
First.
Well, before we go there, one more question I have for your son, the trainer.
Yes.
Because, and I don't know if this is going to help other people, but we're going to get our free tidbits of training, information here. Abs. It is summertime, and it's bikini weather, and what used to be, a pretty good set of abs is now beneath a layer of loose skin. And so, what do you suggest to get abs in shape? What's a good, easy, where I'm not going to kill myself at my age, ab exercise?
Well, I mean, there's two things to look at really. Number one is body fat percentage, because you can have the best abs in the world, but if you're holding too much weight, you're not going to see them.
And that would be my thing. My daughter, and this, tell me what you think about this too. She has a scale that does everything. You step on it because your feet have like electrons or some kind of, it can detect your body fat and your body mass and your weight and your IQ, and all this stuff shows up on this scale. And it said that I had like very low body fat, which kind of surprised me because I'm not in very good shape. What do you think about those scales? Do you think they're accurate?
I'd have to look at the scale. I mean, I really don't know. Some are more accurate than others, of course.
But when you do training, do you do a body fat count? Do you like?
There's a bunch of different ways to do it. We can do calipers on measuring certain amount of skin or fat on different parts of a person's body. You can do a handheld body fat percentage measure, or you can do you can send them out to another place and do it's called hydrostatic weighing, or stepping on machines that shoot like an electric pulse through your body that gives you kind of a
good night
gauge of where you're at.
And what do you do when you get a new client?
Well, I mean, that's a big process. First, what you want to do is you want to get to know them, make sure they don't have any injuries or anything you're going to hurt them doing.
Right.
Second thing is you want to find out what they want to do. I mean, they may want to lose weight. They may not want to lose weight.
Who does not want to lose weight? I mean,
some people say they don't care about it.
That's true. I wouldn't want to lose weight. I could not care less.
Yeah.
I just want to get in shape.
Just want to get in
right.
shape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it really depends. You have to find out. Your job as a trainer is to identify their goals and then help them find a plan and a path to get there.
Now, let me ask a little bit about you. I know we have to talk about the case law, but I'm kind of curious. How long have you been training?
I think I've been working at Gold School over 3 years now.
Okay. And you look pretty young. What was I guess you're in your 20s?
30.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, the training is doing well.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So what was your background going into this?
Well, when I was younger, I worked at medical clinics with my father.
Okay.
And then we moved from Colorado over here and worked various jobs. I was working a job, tons of overtime, and I couldn't get in the gym. I was like, man, this is depressing. So then I thought, and I'd helped a couple of my coworkers lose weight. And they're like, man, you're good at this. I guess, yes. I mean, it's just pretty simple stuff. I thought, I think I could help people lose weight. I think I could help people get stronger. Okay. And so I got a certification. And
what did it entail getting the certification?
Well, I mean, there are a bunch of different things you can do. I went through NASM, so it's a course, and you do some workshops and stuff like that, and then you take a test.
Okay. Was it something you had to pay to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And how long did it take you to get your certification?
I studied for like maybe 3 months.
Okay. And did you have to be fit like a Navy SEAL to be certified?
It has nothing to do with that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Great. Good to know. And you said that you worked for your dad's medical clinics. Were there like weight loss clinics?
No, we did. There were urgent cares and family practice.
Oh, okay. Because I knew another guy that I had been pretty good friends with that has the weight loss medical clinics. But he's not a doctor. He's a nurse. And he moves it from, I think he had some in Houston and in San Antonio. And now he's in Laredo. And his big thing is, I guess that's where he makes his money, is bringing people in and maybe putting them on supplements or something.
Well, it really depends.
I have no idea. I've never been in a weight loss clinic.
Yeah.
Okay, but just to wrap up, what about the ab exercise Tony asked about?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's two things. Number one, it's body fat percentage, so you have to be lean enough to see your abs. And number two, it's muscular definition. If you don't have enough muscles or more defined enough muscles, then you're not going to see them. And everybody's different. That's very genetic.
You mean some people can have a six-pack and some can't?
It just looks different.
Okay,
some people can have a really
exercise do you suggest for lean and at one point in their life had abs, so it's possible, but I'm lazy and don't want to go there? So what is an easy? We could I be sitting right here and doing abs? No. Sit-ups?
Sit-ups, all right. If it was up to me, I would do a plank, like a challenging plank.
Oh,
like
I hate
different
planks.
variations of planks, because it forces not only your abs to work, but your low back and your entire core muscles to work.
You're exactly right.
So a plank is, for our listeners, if you don't know, you can Google it right now, but it's where you're down on your elbows and your body is parallel with the floor and your feet are holding yourself up. So you're trying to, with your elbows and your feet, hold your body level to the floor, right?
Yeah, that's
and you
that's
can
a
do
variation.
this while watching TV.
I hate planks.
Yeah, you want to keep your head straight then.
Yeah.
Every time at Orange Theory, they say, get down into a plank. I go, oh, I got to go get some water.
Yeah.
Okay. And because I'm thinking of things I can do while I'm watching TV. That's all I want to do.
You could do planks.
There's a ton of other exercises you can do. I mean, that's just my favorite overall exercise. You could do all sorts of crunches, twisting exercises, leg raising exercises. I mean, there's a million different things. It's like I said, it's finding what works for you.
Yeah, I'm liking the planks. Yeah, I can just get focused to do that. Okay, so we have a case where where Gold's Gym was not properly paying their. I guess the Gold's Gym trainers got upset that they weren't being paid properly, and
it was an overtime issue.
Yes, and so what happened in that case was it's a 2014 case, and it was in San Antonio. But Gold's Gym is, I believe, and you might be able to help us out on this. Is that a Texas-based company?
They're based in Dallas.
Okay, and that would be another explanation for why this case was in Texas. But this was actually a federal case, and because it had to do with labor laws and what have you. Well, in this particular case, and it's Casanova versus Gold's Tech Holdings Group, Inc. In this case, Daniel Casanova and Tiffany Soul filed suit on behalf of themselves and all other similarly situated plaintiffs, so personal trainers. And they were personal trainers. They were employed by Gold's Gym. And in their complaint, they alleged that Gold's Gym violated the Fair Labor Standards Act by improperly classifying them and other personal trainers as exempt from the Fair Labor Standards Act and not paying them time and 1/2 for hours worked in excess of 40 hours per week. And I'm going to stop here and just ask you, do you work over 40 hours a week, or does it vary?
Yeah, I do.
So you're a full-time trainer where you work? Okay. Now, according to the Casanovas and the rest of the trainers, Gold's Gym, who operates 41 gyms throughout Texas, or at least they did at the time, I'm sure there's more, employs personal trainers. And they assert that each routinely worked more than 40 hours per week, but Gold's Gym did not provide them with overtime compensation. And, you know, I'm just going to add a little tidbit here. If you're suing your employer, that kind of presents a problem if they're the people that pay your the money that you've used to pay your electric bill in your house. So you might want to look for other employment if you're going to sue your employer. Things probably will not be happy at work. Anyway, so the plaintiffs filed a motion requesting conditional certification, a collective action composed of individuals who are, quote, not or were not paid overtime hours for hours worked over 40 hours per week during the 3 years preceding the filing of this action. I think that's because there's like a statute of limitations on that. And there's a bunch of different legal standards and what have you, but ultimately, what happened in this case was it went to the appellate court because the defendants actually, the Casanovas, lost. Gold's Gym won on their won in court that they didn't have to pay them time and a half, and so they went forward and they do what I always suggest that people do if if at first you don't succeed, is you appeal. So they appealed it, and this one ended up in the appellate court, which is why I was able to get the access to the facts to talk about it today. Now, their argument was that under the Fair Labor Standards Act, that conditional certification does not produce a class with an independent legal status, and this is a bunch of boring legal mumbo jumbo. But I will tell you this: ultimately, Gold's Gym won, and they could not get their overtime pay because of the legal wranglings in this. Now, and I'm going to ask you this real quick: do you have any issues? And I know you work for them right now. Do you get paid overtime by Gold's Gym now?
No, I don't.
Okay, so they consider you a contract worker when you're a trainer?
No, I mean they don't consider me contract, but I don't get overtime either.
Okay, and do you know? I'm assuming that there are other trainers out there looking at this particular issue. Are there other facilities that do consider them trainers and employee where they can get overtime?
I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this was just one case, and if you are a trainer and you want to get overtime, then you need to look at, and this goes into employment law, not necessarily training law. You would want to look at you might want to consult with an employment attorney if you want to go there. And I've done, several cases that have gone to the federal courts on employment law. You want to actually look at the contract. They can't discriminate against you as far as, all this discriminatory, whether you're, general, national origin, gender, age, all the different things that they can't discriminate against. They can't discriminate against you on that. But the contract itself is going to be very, very important, as well as they're going to have a manual for employees on what it says about what they pay you and how what they pay you, and if you get overtime, and the reasons whether they're an at-will employer or not. But that's kind of off the beaten track of what we're talking about. But look at your contract when you get hired, and you'll know what your rights are. You may not waste a lot of time and energy going through the courts to try to prove whether or not you're entitled to overtime pay.
Okay, well, having said that, we are about to go to break, but we just want you, our listeners, to know that we are here for you. You can email us your questions at questions@legalconnectionshow.com, and we will take them and answer them to the best of our abilities. And also, we want to remind you that you can download us on Google Play and iTunes Wednesday, tomorrow by 8 a.m. on irlonestar.com. Toni and Cheryl will be back with their special guest, Samuel Jahani, after the break.
Is there someone you know who is hooked on vintage aircraft? Follow the Commemorative Air Force and its fleet of World War II planes, including the mighty B-17 Flying Fortress Texas Raiders. which is based in Conroe, Texas. Texas Raiders tours locally and all around the United States, offering the public a chance to put their hands on aviation history. What could be a more perfect gift than a flight on a historic B-17? Taking to the sky on the iconic bomber is an experience that will never be forgotten. For the touring schedule, reservations, or more information, go to b17texasraiders.org or call 855-FLY-A-B-17.
Hispanic Chamber Connections with Dr. Carlos Sanchez, president of the Woodlands Conroe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, featuring event announcements, member highlights, and more. Tuesdays at 1 p.m., broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available in Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Welcome back to the Legal Connection Show with Toni and Cheryl. We are here today talking about weight loss and gym membership and the legal ramifications of signing contracts with gyms and personal trainers. And we have Samuel Jahani here, who's a personal trainer at the Gold's Gym on 105. And he's a great personal trainer. I've talked to a lot of the people that he's trained, and they are in love with Samuel.
Yeah, but the question is, are they in shape?
Then they're in shape. One guy's lost, 70 pounds?
Wow.
And another woman lost 50 pounds.
Another one's 50. 70.
And I know that that's not just personal training, because people have to have within themselves that type of willpower.
Exactly. And I wish everybody understood that.
And I wasn't trying to say it was just Samuel.
No, but I'm not.
He's effective.
Yeah, I am the greatest.
And yes.
Okay, you're now my trainer then.
So we are glad that he's here with us today. We appreciate your input, Mr. Jahani.
Anytime.
And so, Toni, we were going to talk about some experiences of clients that you've had, and tell us about that case.
Mm-hmm. I will have my own personal experience with training was that they opened up a Gold's Gym not too far from my house. And I never wanted to touch a gym in my entire life. I was an ice skater. I was a tennis player. I jogged. I never needed training. I was in pretty good shape. But my family decided, yes, we need to do the family thing and join the gym. And, family that goes to the gym together stays together, that kind of thing. And it's almost as though I saw the dark cloud going over the sun right at that moment. It's like, I just don't see this as being a reason that families stay together. It could be many other things, but not this. We went in, and I automatically felt completely uneasy because I'm like, oh, this is so dry, and everybody's working out, and they're not productive. Why isn't everybody just working out by cleaning the windows in the gym? But we joined, and I can honestly tell you that I liked it. Good. When I got there, it was regimented, which, I hate to say that I'm anal retentive about stuff like that, but I am. I like that I went at a certain time, and I worked out for an hour, and I did the warm up, and I learned how to work all the machines, mm-hmm. and I loved everything about it. But then because this had nothing to do with it, it wasn't related, but my hip went out. And that had in large part was because for the majority of my life, for 50 years, I was pounding it, doing trying to learn double doubles and double doubles in combination and triples. And right. I was, one of these type AAA personalities, and I wouldn't give up until I learned it. And so consequently, I wore my hip out, and mm-hmm. I didn't even know that's what it was. I just knew I was in pain. And then when they told me that I had arthritis, I was like, that is a word that is not in my vocabulary, and I refused to acknowledge that. So I continued to train. And so what happened was I was in really good shape for the first year, but then the Gold's Gym salespeople talked me into signing another year contract. And I didn't want a year contract. I knew I was injured. I could barely walk, but I could I mean, I got over it and I took, Adderall or not Adderall.
Advil.
I never took Adderall. That's a completely different thing. And I was never on that.
Well, we're not on that legal topic today.
We're not there yet. That would be what people were taking when they took the bar. And I'm like, Adderall helps you with the bar? Really? Maybe I need it. But no, I was taking like, it's over the counter, aspirin or whatever that stuff is. Ibuprofen. And it didn't make it go away, but different things that I did at the gym made it so that that I wasn't using that particular hip, so it didn't hurt, and I was still in good shape. And I made the mistake of stopping working out altogether because I got frustrated with, believe it or not, my training contract. I told them that I was in pain when I was doing certain things, and I loved my trainer, and he wasn't making me do. But at a certain point, I was like, I was doing the training so that I could build the muscle up around my hip, so that it wouldn't hurt, and that wasn't the problem. It was a medical issue.
Right.
And I tried to get out of the training contract because I learned from my doctor that it wasn't going to make it any better. I needed an operation. And I was actually fracturing little by little my hip bone doing the things I was doing.
Right.
And Bill's Gym said, no, you have a contract. And then I stopped. I was like, no, I've got a medical excuse. And then I looked, being an attorney, I looked at the contract documents, and they're like, well, no, you knew when we entered this, you had a medical condition. It was pre-existing. I'm like, but I can't do the training. Do something else. Give me, a year more at the gym, or, work with me on this. And they said no. And it finally went to a collection agency, and it was just kind of tit for tat over, a $1,500 training thing that I should never have taken. They knew it. I knew it, but I got talked into it. I got sucked into it at the moment that this is what I needed to do. And then I couldn't get out of it, which was very, very frustrating for me. Ultimately, though, they kept the collection agency kept calling me, and I settled for I think I ended up paying them $900 out of the $1,500, and I never got any training out of it. Wow. So I was very upset by that. It wasn't the trainer's fault. It was the management at the gym pushing their salespeople. I guess they had to make a quota, and they signed me up, and they shouldn't have. And in hindsight, if I had been, I guess I could have gone to the small claims court over it, but I had bigger fish to fry. I just didn't care. I was like, I'll try to barter with them, which I never did. So that burnt me out. I never joined another gym. I didn't want another trainer. But then we were talking the other day about Orange Curology or
Orange Theory.
And there's something else called Curology, I think. I don't know. There's something else. My daughter tries them all. And she loves all these trainers. But there's also the case where she entered a verbal contract with her trainer, and he said he guaranteed her if she lost a certain amount of weight that she wouldn't have to pay for the training. And I don't know if that's actually go hand in hand. So
some gyms do that kind of stuff. I've heard of that.
Well, before we go on to a variation of that, I wanted to ask our expert here, Samuel Jahani, in Toni's situation, what would have been the best? Do you have an opinion on how she could have handled that once she was in that contract? Could she have negotiated for a package where she's doing something different, or is she just, as far as just out of luck with the gym?
Well, I mean, you did sign for renewing the contract, correct?
Right. And that was the thing. It was like a 2-minute signing, maybe a 1 minute.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, your time's up. And they kept pushing it.
Well, right. Wrong or right, you did sign it, right?
Yeah.
And I knew.
She did.
I signed it.
I thought there was a clause about if you have a doctor's note or something, that you get out of it.
I thought there was too, Toni.
And they said that because I was already injured and I was doing the training, and that was true. I completely agree legally. I should have known. But on the other hand, they were the professionals and the experts. They should have known that my goal was so it would stop hurting.
Well,
one of the things you can do is I've seen this happen with many of my clients, is something happens, they move or they get sick or they can't. What a lot of times they can do is they can freeze it, wait a year, and then reuse those sessions. Of course, don't sign again next year,
right?
And then utilize that stuff.
And in my situation, that really wasn't an option because although I didn't want to acknowledge that, I did ultimately have a hip replacement surgery because there was something about being old. It's like, I don't want a hip replacement. But then again, a lot of skaters, even in their early 30s, have hip replacement because you've worn out a part that is not a normal thing that you wear out. But all that being said, I couldn't get out of the contract, and I would prefer to have cleaned my house to get exercise at that point.
Yeah, when you were upset then,
upset too. Yeah. Not that I was mad at them personally.
I would have been.
I was mad at that the corporate people like you would in a corporation like Gold's Gym Holdings wouldn't allow their employees to work with me, and it was going to get into a big, Gold's Gym federal case, literally, and that wasn't something that I wanted to spoil the joy of my life doing.
Right.
So I walked away from it.
Well, I mean, like I said, that's an option of pushing it back and then trying to use it. Sometimes you can work with a trainer and have them train somebody else. Maybe you got a friend who really wants to get into work. I mean, there's usually a way to
substitute people.
And it depends. Okay. I mean, the gym has to clear it, and the trainer, of course, has to clear it. But there's a way to use them.
Okay. We did have. I'm going to break. If you're here, I'm going to ask our station manager.
We actually have a user comment.
Oh yeah.
They're asking who talked her into it. She did it herself, but the gym should have worked with her in some other program. Bad business.
Who talked me? One more time.
So who talked you into the contract?
The salesperson. They're very effective because they're buff.
Absolutely.
You see them at the gym all the time, so they're almost sort of like your friend, and you don't want to,
hurt
show
your
up
friend
and be like, I'm not a part of this group.
Right.
I'm here all the time, and they're always so nice and friendly, and you trust they're going to do the right thing.
Yeah. Right.
So, and I'm an attorney. I knew at the time that this was a contract I was to be entering, but I also believed that they wouldn't do me wrong. I thought from a personal standpoint, not from a legal standpoint, that certainly they'll work with me. They're such nice people. And it just didn't work out that way. And what was the second part of that question?
The second part was the gym should have worked with her in some other program. So
I love this user. Thank you, user. I thought they should have too, but from a contractual standpoint, they didn't have to. So it was just a matter of whether.
So they just chose not to.
They chose not to, and I was being as nice as I'm talking to you right now. There wasn't any animosity because I didn't hold the people I was talking to directly accountable because they were saying, "We'll get with the upper management," and they'd come back, and I felt bad for them. It was like they were saying their hands were tied, but upper management wasn't just a phone call away, and if we could have Skyped or something, then they should have seen. But,
and they set it up like that too.
Yeah. So my question for you, Dick, is: have you ever done personal training?
No.
You have? What? Personal training. So have you ever wanted to do personal training?
No.
No, you really
won't. Good.
You really
no,
won't
it's not.
Now.
Well, no, I think it's because when I was like any type of gym exercise, my cousin actually was a trainer. And then one of my good friends was actually a certified trainer. But the other one was, they're both football people. And we kind of went through the regiments of what works for me compared to them. Because I'll never forget when I was in strength training in college, part of a class. Unfortunately, everyone was a female, but me and two football players. And the football players probably weighed a good 150 pounds on my weight then. And so when we would work out, it was like it was kind of longer because all the weight shifting and all that kind of stuff. But we had to do it together. And but no, I've always been kind of not in a sense self-educating, but knowing not to go beyond my limits.
Yeah, well, that's good. So you had that, and I had the exact same mindset until I turned 50, and then I was like, I'm lazy. I need a little motivation. I'm telling you, those salespeople, they are motivators.
Absolutely.
They're like, and if you don't sign, then another one that's real buff comes in, and then another one, and suddenly you're surrounded by cheerleaders saying, you can do this, and look what you did so far, and you can do it again. Look at this picture of Jillian Michaels. It could be you, and you're like, oh, and they really get you in there when you're in middle age because you want to go back to your glory days.
Well, I mean, that's true, but you have to be informed and then know what you're willing to do. I mean, if you really, really want to get in good shape, that's probably not a bad idea.
Right.
But I mean, if that's not something you really want to do and it's too expensive and you have pain and stuff like that, then let's be
And
serious.
Here we were in that exact situation.
Right.
I'd already trained for a year. I was in amazing shape.
There you go.
And but I wanted the pain to go away. And but they were like not letting go of what my ultimate goal was. They were like, but you can do it and look how much better you are now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had
the reality was I wasn't getting better.
Right. And I mean, did your doctor tell you that? Or your physical therapist?
No, but I was in denial. I was like, certainly this
being in denial, that you see it all the time with clients. If they're in denial,
do you mean?
Well, they just think, I'm losing weight, everything, I'm just gaining muscle, and everything's shrinking, but you're like, the scale isn't going down.
Wait a minute. I have a question though. When you're gaining weight, doesn't that always mean you're gaining muscle?
No.
Really? Darn it. Darn it.
When I hear that, it's like, okay, if you like to eat more, I mean, the result is you're going to be a very muscular, big person. And that to me is scary.
And a lot of people think that kind of stuff. They think, well, okay, I'm working out harder. My diet's still no good. So I'm getting in better shape. It's not how it works.
Right.
I mean, you really have to be informed and intelligent with a good plan and a good goal and move forward. It's not easy.
Yeah, and that's not to say that some people don't look really good when they're muscular and bigger.
Some people look good without working out at all.
They look, that's true too.
The facts of life.
But when there's somebody I know that is trying to be back to their model slim, 5'8", 130 pounds or whatever they were in their model years, and they're saying, well, I'm building muscle, and they're now like 180 pounds and a big. Their goal was not to be a muscular middle-aged person. Their goal was to be, to lose some weight.
The best version of themselves.
So I think that's when I say the exercise is pushing away from the table, pushing away from over and over.
Right. I mean, to a degree, that's your goal is to push away really hard.
Okay, so what I will just kind of what we're going to talk about in our next segment is a case where we had a guy that was like me, that entered into a fitness contract and was injured at some point during that contract and tried to get out of it. So we'll talk about the results of that.
And we'll be right back after the break.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Statistics show that 1 out of every 6 Texans struggles with food insecurity and hunger. And many people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables every day. The Better Living for Texans program is here to help you learn how to make healthy menu choices, save money at the grocery store, prepare quick and delicious meals, get more good nutrition in your day, and get more physical activity. Classes are fun, friendly, interactive, and free, and taught in English and Spanish. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Welcome back to the Legal Connection Show with Toni and Cheryl. We are wrapping up our show today on weight loss and exercise and workout and the legal ramifications of joining a gym, the benefits and what to look out for. Our expert today is Samuel Jahani. He's the personal trainer at Gold's Gym on 105. And Samuel, we've just got a few more minutes here, but I want to ask you, what should someone do? We've talked about joining a gym and how good it is and how bad it can be. What should someone want to do if they want to lose weight and get in shape? We're all told you got to exercise and you got to diet. So what should we do?
All right. The first thing, and that's a great question because so many of us want to lose weight or get in shape, but we just don't really know how to do that. Most important thing is to have a goal. And that goal can't be, I want to look like a supermodel or I want to look like this. It has to be measurable, attainable, and smart. I want to lose 5 pounds in the next 2 months. I want to go down 2 pant sizes. Have a goal. And then from there, you develop a plan. And there's a bunch of different plans that you develop, a bunch of different ways to do it. It can be a training plan.
That's when we go to the gym.
Well, maybe. Or you can do your own research. I mean, everything is just a tool to how you're going to use it. No one can make you run on a treadmill. You got to
I think that's where the trainer comes in because the trainer is kind of keeping up with
to a
you.
Degree, yeah.
And you are accountable to a person, not just yourself.
But a bad trainer will just sit there and say, yeah, well, what do you want to talk about? So I mean, you really got to know what you want to do. You got to have exactly. So you got to have a plan for diet, for staying active, for exercise, for stretching, for aerobic workouts.
Yes.
For yoga work. There's a ton of different things, but you have to have that goal. It has to be measurable and attainable.
Okay, trainer, let me ask
and then
you
you
one
got to push towards it.
And
I've got to get abs in shape. What is the time frame realistically where I'm not killing myself to get abs in shape if I'm doing planks every night for 10 minutes in front of the TV, but it's not a weight thing.
Well, come see me at the gym and we'll talk about it.
You are a salesperson. I knew it.
No, it's personal, though, I think is what you're really saying.
No, there's a lot of different factors. I can't give you a straight answer on that.
All right, fine. Okay, here, I want to go.
But really, if she did that for 2 months every night, her abs would look probably pretty good, right?
Depends on how much wine she drinks.
Okay.
I don't drink wine.
Well, there you go. You'd probably be okay.
Yeah. although I do drink wine. I'm not a teetotaler.
Wow.
But I don't like to drink it because it makes me sleepy. And then I can't clean the house and do all my work and all that stuff. And then I wouldn't be in good fitness. I'd be sleeping.
So what's this case we're going to wrap up with, Toni?
There's a case where it's Link v. Fitness 19. And it's actually an Illinois case, but it's going to be a similar law in Texas. And a guy hired a personal trainer, Mr. Link. And he basically in 2013, he claimed to have suffered something called rhabdomyolysis. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it is the destruction or degeneration of muscle tissue accompanied by the release of a breakdown of products into the bloodstream and sometimes leads to acute renal failure. And he claimed that the fitness the gym and the trainer owed him a duty of care, and they breached that because they overtrained him, and it caused muscle.
Did he lose or win?
He did lose because, and ultimately, it was a case that went on a long time, and they didn't settle. They lost because the plaintiff, meaning the guy that said that he had the muscle tissue stress, which I guess it could have happened, did not present sufficient factual basis for his diagnosis of this long word that I can't pronounce, to show that the gym was the proximate cause of that condition. So, and I'm sure that happens all the time. They must have a lot of lawsuits where people come in and say, "Oh, the gym did this." Like if my hip hurt, "Oh, the gym did this."
Right.
If the trainer had known or didn't know what he was doing, I wouldn't have had a bad hip, or I wouldn't have gotten hurt. So, that's just like with food poisoning cases. The proximate cause is a big issue in these cases. So, if you can't prove that the gym actually was the causation or the proximate cause of injury, then you're going to lose that case.
That's direct cause. The direct cause really is proximate cause. Right.
Right. And so that's the first thing. And this guy knew that it probably wasn't the trainer that did that. He was just looking for maybe their insurance giving him a payout because he had renal failure for some other reason. And another case, there was it's Johnson versus Ubar, LLC, and that was the gym. A 74-year-old woman went in and they signed her up for the gym and for training. And while she was there, and I don't know, I'm not quite sure why. I guess when I'm 74, maybe I would do the same thing. But she went in and they talked her into a training program and a gym membership.
Right.
And while they were showing her around the place, she tripped over a bar and basically broke her neck. I mean, it was cracked, but she did crack a vertebrae. And so she sued with her, I guess her family sued because the gym, she said they were negligent. And she ultimately, this is crazy, but she ultimately won that case.
Wow.
Because they determined that the gym had some negligence because of, not because she was 74, but because of someone was showing her around when she had first gotten her membership. And there was a lot of different facts included in that. And so there's a lot more that I haven't gotten into in this case.
Right.
But she did win because the gym had the responsibility and they had a duty of care to the 74-year-old woman, particularly with being 74, to make sure that she was taken care of.
Okay. Well, we hope this has been a service to you guys, our listeners. We've been talking about gym memberships and some legal ramifications. Our website is www.legalconnectionshow.com, and you can check us out on Facebook at Legal Connection Show. We'll be here next Tuesday from 12 to 1. Go to irlonestar.com or 104.5, 106.1. Thank you, Samuel Jahani, for being our expert today.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Personal Trainer. You're welcome.